Oh, guess what time it is, everyone? It's time for the cruise story. Yes, the video I have been putting off making. Because, I don't know, like, it was such a crazy thing that happened to me that I didn't know quite how to approach it. At first I wanted to make it into a webcomic, then I wanted to just, make a book about it. Like, I had so much material to work with, and then I was like, well, sheesh, why don't I just hire some animators? And then I was like, wait, I don't have money for that. So, this is what you're gonna get. This is the cruise story. Welcome. We're going to be putting, like, I don't know, I always envisioned, like, Super Monkey Ball or something in the background, and I'm gonna shrink my face a little. So, the cruise story. Where the heck do I start? Well, let's just say this. This is the worst breakup story I've ever heard of. In fact, it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard of. Like, to ever happen, to ever come out of another human being. This is ridiculous, okay? And probably the reason I waited so long is I needed to be able to laugh about it before I was upset about it, because it was all directed at me, unfortunately. So, yeah. Now I can just kind of laugh about it, but I'm also a little sad, because I know there's some poor person out there dating this individual. And history tends to repeat itself, so look out, King. You're in for it. But, geez, where do I start? Okay. The cruise story. Ethan, me, I was invited along on a very expensive, very extravagant, very exquisite, once-in-a-lifetime for me, vacation. Because, let me tell you, after what happened, I will not be going on any more cruise ships. Unless there was a revenge cruise, which we were plotting, but I digress. Now, wonderful family. In fact, her entire family is just awesome. I just want to say that. And they made it all happen. And I feel so terribly bad that there's definitely a huge stain on that whole vacation because of what their daughter decided to do. And the actual, like, cruise itself, getting dumped aside, I had a really good time. I did some things I never thought I'd do, and everybody was really, really nice to me with the exception of one person. So, thanks. I had a great time. I'll never forget it. And even though I would like to forget some things, but I also went to Mexico for the first time. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Isn't that cool? Geez, okay. So, let's just start with some background, some context, if you will. I was dating this girl for, sheesh, like 3.5 years, perhaps. She's something else, I'll tell you what. We had a good relationship for the most part until cracks began to show, and of course I ignored them, okay? Looking back, hindsight is 20/20. I should have seen this coming a mile away. I should have never been like, yes, I'll go on this cruise, yes, I'll have fun, yes, this, yes, that, yes, yes, yes. And blissful ignorance or, hopefully being arrogant of the whole situation, the signs were all there, okay? I'm not even gonna, I'm not gonna go into too much, detail of all the signs, but as a person, as a dude, you know when you're being cheated on. There were clues that there was certainly a big shift in the way I was being treated, and I should have held my standards a bit higher. I should have said I don't deserve this, because I was really kissing some butt for no reason. And this is what butt kissing gets you sometimes. A cruise story. So I was invited on this nice, wonderful cruise, and with my girlfriend, and there was this other side plot that I gotta explain too. She wanted, because this made it sting worse than it had to, she pressured me, took me ring shopping, really wanted me to propose to her on this cruise. Really just cementing the fact that this is going to be a romantic getaway, and, really just trying to, take the extreme approach and really just tie me down. Thank goodness, Ethan, you dodged a torpedo there. A predator missile, an atomic bomb, because holy cow, had I gone through with that, had this wonderful human being named Brandon on Xbox Live did not show up just to rizz up my girlfriend and take her away from me. Thanks, by the way, Brandon. I do appreciate it, because, whew, yikes. Whew, yeah, no. I didn't realize how badly I was being treated until afterwards. So it becomes a new normal for you. And that's part of the reason I actually made the dating advice series, was to, like, cope, perhaps, or to actually just get out there, like, some of the things I was starting to discover, like, hey, wait a second, I see this a lot in relationships. I see a lot of relationships, for instance, using Life 360 to their detriment, you know? Any sort of lack of trust in a relationship, I would say, is pretty just bad, okay? And a lack of maturity, which this relationship had no shortage of, both on my end and on her end, but I would say specifically on my end, because I was not mature enough to walk away from the whole thing before it even happened. So, in essence, I don't really see it as, like, I see it as a canon event. I don't think this would have not happened. I don't think this would have not gotten to the point it did. I don't see anything I could have done differently, other than the fact that I didn't dump her myself, which is silly. Now, to the individual I am talking about, this video is not for you, okay? I obviously. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a second to, like, click off, because I'm about to share the whole story. And to anybody who knows the individual, no harassment, alright? I will condemn that. We are cool. Me and the individual are cool. Things are fine. But it is so funny and so absurd that I can't not tell the entire internet about the freaking Cruise story. Okay, 6 minutes of just waffling on. So there we were, driving in a 2000-something Dodge Grand Caravan. I'm in the third row seat. Oh yeah, that was so uncomfortable. I'm 6'2", and my legs are big, and third row seat's not good. And so I have this, you know, wildebeest of a person sitting next to me, whom would later decide to dump me for Xbox Live Man. But I do still love me some Xbox, and thank you, Xbox Live Man. But anyways, yeah, so I was just, like, absolutely uncomfortable for 15 whatever hours driving, okay? We're driving down from, you know, Midwest down to Galveston? Some port, okay? In Texas. And we were, oh boy, well, we were driving along, and I remember specifically us stopping at, like, a chocolate store, and her hugging me, remarking how much she loves me, how excited she is for me to propose, and all that stuff. Not only did she change her mind, like, an hour later, but this was like the biggest 180 I've seen in my entire life. Okay, this female, she decided, you know what? Ethan was never good. You were never good. You're the reason for all my problems. And so she projected it all onto me, picking fights with me in the back seat, the third row seat of a Dodge Grand Caravan. Need I mention, this was the third row seat, and this was not comfortable, because I'm tall. Okay, yeah. It just... So, I'm sitting in the back seat of a Dodge Grand Caravan. She begins fighting with me via text, so no one can hear. She says the most inflammatory thing she can think of, blaming me for each and everything, bringing it, essentially the phrase, throwing the kitchen sink at you, bringing up every little conflict in the past, just to, like, use as ammo, okay? That wasn't cool. That really soured the journey for me, and I did not know what to do. You know, what do you do? I hopelessly defended myself, because I was like, geez, we really gonna let some silly fight ruin the vacation? Well, she really wanted it to, so, so, yeah, third person here, you know, the person on the internet, whoever it was, she just kept talking on the phone, yakking about me, yakking about just whatever. Seemed to be really close, like as if they've known each other for years, which was I would say a red flag to me, because, like, anytime, like, you're just getting completely neglected for another person who claims to be your partner, I mean, that's probably not good, right? Oh boy, yeah, this is definitely, wasn't good. In hindsight, I probably should have been like, yeah, no, nope, but that's the thing, now I will. That's the good thing, like, I actually don't, like, give it a second thought. Like, there will never, ever be another opportunity for someone to treat me like that again. And I had to, this is because, like, after laying down and taking it, and, like, dealing with that, not worth it, nope. Sometimes you gotta be mean and say, that's not my, that doesn't live up to my standard of, like, how I want to be treated. It's not being mean, per se, it's just being very frank, So anyways, yeah, that first night, we stayed in a hotel, she was on the phone with him, and that next morning was when she decided, oh, I'm gonna break up with you, but we're gonna have a great time on this cruise. No, you weren't. Like, and imagine me, okay, very far away from home, and I'm stuck with her entire family, which, I mean, that part wasn't that bad. It was just being sleeping in a room on a boat with her was just the worst thing ever after what she said to me. And like, the sheer amount of, like, gaslighting that was attempted to make it all my fault was very funny, to say the least. Like, there is, like, absolutely nobody in the group that we went with bought that I had anything to do with it. They were just, like, completely dumbfounded. I mean, her parents had to be so embarrassed. Like, that is ridiculous. I would be ashamed. Like, that, just like the spectacle. You work all year for a very nice vacation, and they, took me too, and it was very awesome of them, right? And then their daughter starts, like, some drama to just completely, like, over what? I don't know. Like, theory-wise, I mean, some people are just psychotic, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I probably should have known that. I mean, I had been with her for many years, and I definitely did not have some good times. But there were a few good times, which, I mean, yeah, those good times do not outweigh the bad times, especially after this. In fact, I've never seen somebody make me forget all the good times quite like her. Like, in just, like, a few brief words. Like, I was just like, wow. Alright, jeez. Like, I gotta get out of here. So, poor Ethan. Yeah, so I just kind of stuck following her around, relying on her for, like, information about the cruise stuff, like, what to do. Unfortunately, having to room with her, and it was just not fun. And what else? Like, we get on the cruise boat. Like, I called all my homies that night in the hotel, and I was like, what is going on? Am I crazy? Like, and to all the homies who answered the phone that night, thank you. But yeah, what? Like, so I got dumped. So day one of the cruise was essentially the denial day. There was no way that was real. Oh, but yes, Ethan, there was. And it's just, it took me not 24 hours to find a part of the group that I was comfortable hanging out with, and, actually did end up getting the most out of the vacation I could possibly have gotten. Shout out to them, you know who you are, and I'm thinking of 4 individuals, 5 maybe in particular, and made some new friends, but that comes a few days later. So I was just kind of torn. I was just upset and confused. And there was just like, what do you do? You're alone, you're at sea, you have no cell service, and you're just getting walloped, completely gaslit, like Darth Vader in the room, just like force choking you for no reason. What? Because Brandon said so? Oh, and the funny thing was, this internet guy she was obsessed with talking to, she, like, paid extra Okay, she paid extra to sit in her room, have a Wi-Fi connection, like a 1 megabit Wi-Fi connection, and call. What? As if that was like that. You know, when you're on a cruise, you should probably go do the activities. I mean, I really found a lot of enjoyment. Of course, my appetite was severely suppressed from all the being upset, but yeah, I thought it was very odd that she would just lock herself in the room talking to him. And then in turn, anything I would leave in the room, I would not want to go back down there, because I would know I would just get harassed by some dude in her ear, and then she would repeat the stuff that he said. It was such a bad time. My gosh. And then, like, the third night, she comes in all drunk and, like, throwing stuff at me and explaining to me, like, why I'm the reason, like, everything's wrong in her world. And, like, yeah, if you ever hear that from somebody, they've got issues, okay? That's just bottom line. And I hope you realize that before you are too hard on yourself, because wowee. And luckily, by the time that rolled around, I did realize, like, wow, yeah, this is a little crazy. This is a bit of a stretch. This is a bit, you know, gaslighty. This is a bit, it doesn't make sense, should I say? Like, okay, let me pitch it to you. This was her argument. I'm something. I don't know, like, I'm too clingy, and that was pushing her away, and it was just like, I can't remember. It was something that did not make any sense. Either way, the kitchen sink was included, so this was just every flaw that I may or may not have had for the past, like, 3.5 years. So it was kind of like, whatever. And what an epic conclusion to a relationship, I must say. Like, I am happy with that. But at the end of the day, like, not all breakups end on a cruise ship, and you don't get a nice vacation out of it. And I had a great time afterwards. Like, after the initial coping, like, day one was done, like, yeah, I was able to enjoy myself. It was just kind of, like, awkward around her, and that's really all it was. I was miserable the entire time, just like days 1 and 2, you know. I had my little bouts of crying, upset, you know, denial, whatever. I mean, that's natural, you know. And yeah, I mean, it was just a great time, though. Met some really cool people, and I'm trying to think, like, there was something else. Oh, yes. The actual sucky part was, I was not comfortable sleeping in the same room as her after her little temper tantrum at, like, midnight, coming home drunk. So I luckily, 2 bros, absolute bros, were like, yeah, sleep on the floor. They kept me good company. We became really good friends. They were absolutely appalled at what was going on, and it was just like, her whole family was. It's such a shame. I hate bringing it up, but I've, like, literally teased this story so much that it's like, I gotta make it. But yeah, it was very, very weird. And yeah, just to have, like, everybody kind of just like, hey, what's going on? Hey, why is she acting like this? Like, wait, what? Like, and then for this claim she was making to be, like, obviously not true, like just basically claiming I was horrible, just absolutely horrible. Like, there's no, everybody has seen, like, known me, so it was like, no, I know Ethan. That's not really line up. It'd be kind of what she was claiming would have been very, very weird to, like, have kept a secret for all these years, and it was just seemed like a poor excuse to do what she did, essentially. But yeah. I guess at the end of it, like, me and the boys went to the singles mixer, got to learn what Femboy Friday was. You know, I had a good time. I had a really good time. There are things that I did on that cruise that I will never, unfortunately, forget. And fortunately, we'll never forget, you know. It goes both ways. This was both probably one of the most awesome vacations I've ever had, and also one of the worst. And the way it ended was pretty awesome too, I must say. Now, I left with, instead of going back in a 15-hour car ride or whatever it was, with her and her family, and stopping to see her grandparents, I was like, no, I gotta get out of that, right? Okay, so I was like, I was phoning in for backup. My parents had a war room set up here. They're like, all right, how are we gonna get Ethan home? All right, we fly him out of Mexico. What do we do? And then we all came to the conclusion, okay, you get dropped off at the airport, you take a plane, but you're gonna have a 10-hour layover. And I was like, whoa, a 10-hour layover? That's awesome. That sounds way better than having to ride in the car. Like, I don't know. Anything was better than, the alternative. Having to BS my way through a family visit, that would have sucked. Oh, jeez, yeah, so... But the funny part about the departing, and I kind of... It's kind of a shame, like, I never got to be like, hey, yeah, thanks again for the... I did say it, like, the night prior, but that morning we all were, like, deboarding or whatever, deboarding off the cruise. I just dipped. I mean, I left with 2 random strangers at that point, like, that I met on the cruise. They were real homies. They took me to the Houston airport. Yeah, I mean, this was... I waited at that Houston airport for 10 hours or so, another 2 hours in Dallas, and bam, I was home. And yeah, that layover could have been 3 days, and I would have been like, heck yeah. Anything's better than having to sit in the car with her and Brandon. Like, holy cow. So, I mean, that's pretty much what ends the story. If there's any, like, I feel like I'm probably leaving a lot of fun facts out, but, like, most people who've known me, like, heard the story before. But it's just, yeah, that's just the funniest breakup I've ever had. So, just to recap, I was dumped for somebody she met on Xbox Live, completely blindsided. Also, like, I didn't really mention again, but, like, she was also, like, planning on having me propose to her on this cruise, so that was kind of weird. And then also, at the same time, she tried to destroy my reputation with, like, everybody on the boat, and failed miserably. And so that's, I guess, a win for me, but also, someone's losing out on this. Whoever has to live with that individual. Like, I am so lucky. I am so lucky that's how I got off so easy. Okay? The next guy is probably not going to be so lucky. This is not a joke. Like, in fact, everybody I know, and I was ignoring them, said, this girl is bad news, Ethan. She treats you horribly. And I'm just like, you're just a hater, or, like, you're in denial. But unironically, like, they were right, and I was wrong. And there was definitely a good few months of I told you so's, and I did appreciate hearing that. And, I really, really was blind. And never again. That's all I gotta say. I will never again be found in that situation, and that's a good thing. So, I thank this individual for teaching me such a valuable lesson, for giving me the most epic breakup story of my entire life. Hopefully, I don't want anybody to top this, please. What are you gonna do? Dump me on a plane? Make me skydive out of it? Like, golly. Strand me in, like, mainland China, and just be like, oh, yeah. And then, yeah, that'd be funny too. And then Brandon comes back. Brandon's like some evil supervillain, but also, like, kind of a goat, because Brandon was the one who got me out of this absolutely nonsense relationship. I mean, there's something to be said. There's something to be said about it all. I will say, we were dealing with a very insecure person, and those types of insecurities you'll seek out validation, particularly on the internet. This is where Brandon comes in. Brandon was probably feeding her all sorts of validation and basically, I guess, demonizing me for whatever reason. I mean, I had to be the bad guy, so whatever. But at the same time, seemed to bring her some, good enough companionship for however long he stuck around. So, yeah, here's to you, Brandon, I guess. But from what I understand, Brandon dumped her like weeks later too. So it's like once you realize what you're getting into, you can't. And it's also like there's a big stark contrast to like, okay, she gets into like multiple relationships and it's just like completely rebounding, and then there's me. I start like playing Tetris competitively and start a YouTube channel and like speedrun getting a bunch of subscribers on YouTube. Like, I don't understand. Like, what what has gotten into me? I think I just realized I was like, oh my gosh, I have no girlfriend now. I can do whatever I want, and everything just yeah. Things have been very different for me. I'm very thankful that those canon events happened. So, with that being said, the Cruise story is pretty much over. That led me to create the dating series. That led me to... yeah. So, then this is going to be quite a long video because that's the Cruise story for you. I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit this thing together, but... yeah. I appreciate you for watching. Once again, please do not, if you know the individual, I just advise staying away, you know? I mean, it was just definitely, and I do appreciate that she does not contact me. That's good, you know? I really try to cut off all communications possible, but there have been attempts made, and luckily those attempts have stopped, so, and to any of her future partners, I hope you never watch this video, because not knowing about what happened there on that ship is good, okay? Like, you don't need to know. You don't, okay? That would probably, you know, I don't want to kill her chances of happiness just because of this one crazy moment, but it is super funny how it all unfolded. Xbox Live, Brandon dumped, cruise ship, the airport layover, Femboy Friday, and then YouTube channel, and then Pro Tetris player, and then I have a bunch of money now, and then yeah, it's just like it was just a complete level up for me. So it was very, very fortunate that this all happened to me. Yeah, I'm not even coping at that. I'm just like serious, like wow, that was good. Yeah. So with that being said, this is the official canon ending to the dating series for now. And if I, I hope not, but if I do end up needing to make a second part to the dating series, I might add on to it. But I'm going to start moving into Tetris. I really have a lot I want to explain about Tetris, and a lot of things I've figured out over these past like 7 months I've been straight grinding NES Tetris that I think would be better suited for my channel. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry you had to hear this, and if you made it to the end, wow. If you have any questions for me, please, please, comments, okay? I will do some Q&As in the comments. I'll offer free dating advice, as always, for the dating videos. Man, just keep your eyes peeled for a Tetris video, alright? We'll see you later.